morning, everybody. Welcome back to My Wings of Refuge. I'm excited today, y'all, because I love canning and I really love to can meals in a jar. I mean, how cool is that? As you know, if you've been following along with my life lately with what's been going on at the Crisis Pregnancy Center, you will know my life has been very busy. And so it is so handy to be able to walk onto your canning shelf, pull off a jar of a meal completely ready that all you have to do is heat up. And I love doing that. And so today we are going to make one of my absolute favorites. Growing up, my parents loved to buy Campbell's bean and bacon soup, and it was a favorite. But now in my adult life, I don't like to buy canned, pre-made anything if I can help it. And so I have a recipe that rivals Campbell's any day. And today we're going to make that together, and it's going to be a canning recipe you can put on your shelf that'll be shelf stable. It won't last more than a year. I can promise you that, because you will gobble it up. You, your grandkids, your kids, your friends, family, neighbors, whomever. It will be so good. It won't last that long because you're going to eat it all gone. We're going to start with 2 pounds of navy beans. These beans have been soaking overnight in the refrigerator. Now I'm just going to drain and rinse them. So we have our pot of beans here that have been rinsed and drained, and we want to add 6 cups of water. Next, we want 8 cups of chicken broth. This is my beautiful homemade chicken broth. If you could smell this right now, oh, it smells amazing. I love my homemade broth. And so I'm going to add 8 cups of my broth. And I'm going to turn the eye on high, and we want to get this cooking on high for about 30 minutes. And I'm going to go ahead and add some of the seasonings to it as well. So while this is heating up, I'm going to just add 4 bay leaves. Now, one thing about bay leaves, they give it a tremendous flavor. They add tons of nutrients. You should read up on bay leaves and what they do and how what they offer you. But this will give it some great flavor. But just remember, before you can this or before you consume it, you want to pick those leaves back out. We want to add a teaspoon of thyme. So you want 6 cloves of garlic, but I'm out of my fresh garlic, so I'm actually going to use some dried garlic powder. Now, a lot of people are going to want to add salt to this. I would say salt to taste. Now, my husband does not like salt at all whatsoever, and I totally respect that. So I salt anything that I'm cooking, usually after the fact, especially something like this that I'm going to can. I'll just wait and salt it later if needed, and he loves it without any salt at all. While the beans are cooking, I want to go ahead and get my bacon ready. So this is my bacon that we raised ourselves, and it is uncured. Some people don't like to use bacon in recipes because of the curing process. I'm not concerned about the curing process, so I will use my bacon. So while our bacon is cooking, we're going to go ahead and put our carrots. You want about 6 carrots into our pot. You'll want to cook the bacon to your preferred doneness. I like mine very done, as you can see. And then I'm going to scoop it out, strain it really well. Okay. And then I'm going to save this grease to add in my onions. I'm only going to leave my onions in here long enough to get them just a little bit soft. They don't have to cook all the way. They're going to cook more, but this is going to flavor them also. And then we'll strain them as well and add them to our soup. So now we're just going to add in our bacon and our onions to our soup. So now I want to slide this over to this eye because I want my jars to be nice and hot when we're ready for them. So I'm going to set my jars on the other eye. Here we go. I'm going to turn these jars on high just to get them nice and hot. While we give this just a few more minutes to slightly soften our vegetables. This does not have to be thoroughly cooked because it is going to be cooking under pressure for quite a while. They will be cooked. So one of the last ingredients that I want to add is my homegrown beautiful celery. You can leave this out. Some people don't like celery. I love celery in soups and stews, and I love some of it by itself, especially when it's homegrown from my garden. For a little richness, we're going to add some tomato paste. Okay, so I have everything set up here. My soup is about ready, and you'll see the smaller pot over here is my flats that I have been keeping warm, and in the big pot here is my canning jars. Now I'm not going to be water bathing, I'm actually going to be pressure canning, but this for me is an easy way to keep my jars hot. You'll see the little table here that I am going to, there's a trivet there and a couple of hot pads as well. I'm going to sit the very hot pot of jars over there and work from that point while my pressure canner gets warm. But now I have my jars down on the little table and I have my pressure canner there and I'm getting that water hot, so we'll be ready. Don't forget to remove those bay leaves. Okay, so we have a lot going on here, but we are ready to rock. I'm going to get only a couple of jars out at a time to keep them hot. And we want to fill our jars with a 1-inch headspace. Make sure you get plenty of liquid at the top. And you'll want to debubble. Take that measurement one more time. Perfect. Wipe these rims really good. You don't want to leave anything on them. If you see anything on your paper towel, do it again. Then we'll get our flats. And a ring finger tight in our canner. Now we'll just do the rest of our jars. All the jars are in and I'm ready to put on my lid. Now I want to leave this valve open and make sure you read your manufacturer's instructions because all canners are different. I love my T-file. For me, I think it's really easy. You don't have to worry about weights or anything, but you have a nice little gauge right here. So I've locked in my lid. I've put in the appropriate amount of water for my canner, which isn't much. It's like an inch or so in the bottom. And my jars are in. I have the water already hot. So right now what we want to do, we really want to get this boiling, and I'm waiting until I see constant steam. Once I see constant steam, we'll set our timer for 10 minutes because we just want to openly steam for 10 solid minutes. I know with the lighting you really probably can't see the steam, but we already have full steam ahead. So I'm going to set my timer for 10 minutes. I'm not going to touch anything. I'm leaving this open. We just want it to steam for 10 solid minutes. There's our timer. Now we're just going to close the valve and we're going to wait until our temperature gauge or our pressure gauge gets to 10 pounds of pressure. Once you reach 10 pounds, we'll set our timer. So we have reached our 10 pounds of pressure. It's time to set our timer. And since we're canning meat and beans, we're going to set our time. And we have quart jars. We're setting our timer for an hour and 30 minutes. And then we wait. And there's our timer. All I'm going to do is turn off the heat. Nothing else. Not gonna touch the valve, leaving it locked right where it's at. All I want to do is turn off the heat because we're gonna let this slowly cool off. We're gonna let the pressure slowly go down all the way to 0. Once it's 0, then we can open the valve. Just wait. We are now at 0 pressure. All I'm gonna do is open the valve. And nothing happened, which means we can open the lid. And since it's still warm, I'm just gonna let this sit here for a minute. Y'all, hope you enjoyed today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Y'all, I love cooking meals in jars, and I hope to do a few more in our future. Y'all, hope you have a great week. Stay tuned. You just never know what's happening here on the Homestead.